Jesse coughed, screwed the lid on the pint of black velvet back down, and tossed the bottle into his passenger seat. It landed amid a pair of work gloves, ramen noodle wrappers, and a box of 270 shells. He sat back, closed his eyes, and tried to relax. Snot ran from his nose. With the sleeve of his coat, he wiped the snot away, but it persisted. He cursed the goddamn hay that caused it, rolled down the window, snorted it in, and hawked it out. As he rolled the window up, a gust of wind caught the 2 eagle feathers hanging from his rearview mirror. His grandpa had given him one after he killed his first elk. He was very young then. The tribal council had awarded him and his team the second eagle feather 8 years ago. He was a junior in high school, and they had won the Class C state basketball tournament. Crowds had packed into the gym so tight the floors sweated. They cheered the team to victory and filled him with impossible convictions long afterwards. For instance, he thought he might move beyond this place, but here he was. He kept the truck running for warmth. Its interior light shone faintly now in the dusk, and having forgot it was on, he turned it off. The orange sun burned through the snowy haze blowing off the mountains. The cow lay sprawled on the hillside just below him. Wild dogs had run her to exhaustion, broken her down, biting at her back legs, and torn into the soft tissue of her ass where blood pooled. Her pregnant belly heaved exhaustively. Several hours earlier, Jesse had thrown the hay near the cow to eat. The cow took a few bites and stared blankly across the plains. Her chewed-up ears searched for the noise of predators, the dogs they had scared off several hours before he returned to spend the night. The 2 brothers who owned the cow bickered over who'd have to watch her. That's when Jesse volunteered. Now the cow's nostrils flared wildly, filling the air with vapor. I said, "God damn, it's getting cold," Jesse laughed. "Not even the whiskey can warm me up." He eyed the bottle, grabbed it, and took another sip. "Hey," he said with a gap-toothed grin. If only the cow could make it through the night and regain her strength, then she might be able to walk back to the corral, to safety, or so the thinking went. Jesse wasn't getting much from it, the pint of whiskey and $80 to fill his truck up and buy a few groceries the next time he and his girlfriend could get to town. It was all the brothers could spare anyway, running the small operation like they did, and he wouldn't have even asked for the money if he didn't feel the goddamn expectation to bring it home. For 3 weeks, his girlfriend, their daughter, and his 2 little nephews had been confined to their home for either lack of gas or means to travel over the snow-plugged roads. Jesse shoveled snow, he shuffled cards, he swung the kettlebell he'd taken years ago from the school gym because no one was using the thing anyway. They watched Judge Judy and Jerry Springer, all the crazy white people, perhaps worse off or at least more ridiculous than they. They cursed the evening news and its weather report, then they laughed about it, then they planned how they'd ration their meals through the week. The venison ran out and they ate oatmeal, bologna sandwiches, ramen, and Chef Boyardee. Occasionally, Raylan cooked a can of chili and made some fry bread. One night, Jesse snuck out and smoked a joint with the boys in Tony's bedroom at his grandpa's house. Him and his friends watched the bulls lose to the Timberwolves. Alongside a marijuana tapestry and his fancy dance bustle, a poster of Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman hung on Tony's wall. He proudly wore the colors black and red. As Jesse was getting ready to leave, another buddy showed up with a 30-pack of Bud Light from town. "Your hero is here, boys," he said. "Here you go. Pass him around." "How the hell did you get out?" "Took old agency out to 89, but I wouldn't think about it now. It's really starting to blow. Oh." The walls in the bedroom creaked. "Oh, I can hear it, goddammit," Tony said. Snow and blow, snow and blow. Supposed to do the same tomorrow." "Gonna get goddamn cold too," Jesse said. The cans started cracking open. One got thrown to him and he worried about getting home. Shit, he decided. I never get to hang out anyways. Raylan would be fine with the kids for one night. With that thought, he cracked his can open too. "Hey," Tony said after they sat a while watching country music videos, drinking a few. "Did I ever show you that old revolver Grandpa Spud has?" "Nah," Jesse said. "I ain't seen it." "Well, shit, man. You gotta check this piece out." Tony got up and went to the main room. When he came back, he walked through the door bow-legged, holding it to his hip. "Here you go, partner. Check this shit out." He handed the gun to Jesse. "Looks old." "Goddamn better believe it. You know where it's from?" "That piece you're holding in your hand right there is from Custer's band, from the Battle of Little Bighorn." "Aye." "Hey, come on now." "No shit, man." "Yeah, old Spud in there? Well, his gramps was Sioux, and they killed all them cowboys." "Aye." "His gramps must have killed one, too." Took it off one of those sorry SOBs, and well, there's it. Just kept getting passed down. Jesse turned the gun over in his hand, feeling as though the whole thing might have taken place yesterday. That maybe he could have been there. And he raised the eye gun level, imagining as though he had just taken it himself. For several moments, they all looked at it with a kind of wonder as they passed it around. Then Cody, who'd just been sitting in the corner observing it all, piped in. You know Jerry Ironshirt? Lives up in the mountains? Marvin's uncle? Yeah, I think I know him, Tony said. Cody took a drink of his beer and smirked devilishly. Well, he's got something pretty cool, too. Yeah, what's that? Got himself a scalp. No shit. The room got quiet as everyone looked from one person to the other. Shit, Tony finally said. A strong gust of wind shook the walls, and they all took a drink. The eagle feathers swung in the rearview mirror as Jesse rolled over the snowdrifts on his way home that night. He had to park a block away and walk in. When he got inside his house, he found the kids still awake and Raylan on the sofa. Where have you been, she said. And before Jesse could answer, she added, Where the fuck was my phone call? How was I supposed to know where you've been? Jesse gave her a minute to calm down, and then he explained he was at Tony's and some old friends showed up. Raylan rolled her eyes. Why aren't the kids in bed, Jesse asked. Because they won't listen to me, you asshole. Leaving me here? Jesse quietly rounded the kids up and shuffled them to their room. Stay in there, he told them sharply. Jesse, I can tell you're drunk. You're drunk. Leaving me here with the kids all night after I work all day. I work all day with kids. Working all day at the child center. It's me and kids all goddamn day. And what do? Leave me here and go have a good time with your friends. Their daughter came back into the living room. Darling, what'd I tell you, Jesse said. Stay in the room. Your mom and I are talking. But, she stammered, I need a drink of water. The two little nephews came into the room, one chasing the other. In your room, Jesse said, his voice gradually getting louder. See, this is what I'm saying all night. They don't listen, Raylan went on. In your room, Jesse yelled. The daughter slumped to the floor and started to pout. Jesse picked her up under one arm and grabbed the arm of one of the nephews while demanding the other to follow. After wrangling them all in their room again, he slammed the door and they started to cry, and Raylan continued yelling, and the wind rocked the small house. Jesse walked into his own bedroom, slammed his door, and laid on the bed. A minute later, Raylan ripped the door open. No, she said, you don't get to cuff me off like that. I'm not done. I do all the work around here, and what do? You do nothing. Nothing. Oh, shut the fuck up, Jesse said and rolled over. That's when he felt one of the child's plastic toys hit him in the back. The fuck was that, he said and sat up. Awasopsy, you crazy? Get out. Get out of here. Get out. Get out. You're not sleeping in here. Raylan picked up another toy and threw that. It hit Jesse in the cheek as he turned, at which point he flew out of bed and stomped across the room and tried pushing Raylan out of the door, but she pushed back and started punching him, and in the struggle he accidentally grabbed around her necklace and snapped it. It was the necklace he bought her in Santa Fe several years back when he worked a fire down there, her favorite one, its brightly colored beads and turquoise gems scattered across the floor. Raylan immediately let go of Jesse and gaped in disbelief. She bent down and picked up the strand with the few beads still left on it. Oh, just fucking kill me, she said. Just kill me. And she stormed past the kitchen into the bathroom in tears. Jesse waited a minute, then followed. He heard the wind and he heard her sobs. A nephew poked his head from his bedroom out of the door, and Jesse pointed a stern finger at him and mouthed to get back inside. Then he searched the drawers to count for all the knives. He knew Raylan had cut herself before. Scars ran up the inside of her arms, each one an outward reminder that she did not choose this existence. But all the knives were there, and he let her cry a moment longer before opening the bathroom door. I'm sorry, he said, and ran his hand comfortably down her back. I'm sorry. We can try to get the necklace fixed. It can't be fixed, she said, and turned toward him. He kissed her on the cheek. I'll get you another, he said, and held her in a long embrace. Jesse had drifted off to sleep in the truck. When he woke up, frozen snot was hanging off his thin mustache. He pulled the blankets he brought with him over his head and took the last pull from the whiskey. Shit, he said. The wind had picked up and his truck shook. It must be 20 below or more with the wind chill. he thought, and he thought about going home, but decided no, he'd remain good to his word. The sky was filled with stars, a sliver of moon hung among them, and the entire landscape was softly illuminated, gray and shifting like smoke. The black outline of the cow remained in its posture. If there were any predators around, they must have been wise enough to stay away. In the distance, the lights of the school beamed high into the night. What a waste of time school was, Jesse thought. Were it not for basketball, a complete waste of it. He would not even have attended. He remembered the pervert math teacher always eyeing the girls from across the room and making weird comments. There was the constant rotation of science teacher, and there was that one mean bitch, the social studies teacher, who stayed around too long. In his final year, there was that goddamn English teacher always preaching about personal responsibility. Half the year, he had them trying to read the same book, Atlas Shrugged, about some shit Jesse would never know, all the while he and many of his classmates were already taking care of the kids at home, getting them dressed, cleaned up, and their food put on the table, chopping wood for the stoves and for the elders in the community. What did he know about personal responsibility? God, he despised that man. Luckily, they were spared him the second semester after the winter pushed him out. A gust of wind battered his windows with snow. What it must have taken to live here years ago. Defiance. It must have taken some real defiance, Jesse considered as he slipped back into sleep. From the blackness of his dreams, the mountains arose. Then the valleys and the rivers and the plants arose from them. And from the plants arose the animals, elk, bear, wolf, beaver, and buffalo. A great herd arose in the valley, and after them finally arose the people and their culture. Yes, but this was not the people the Creator would have them be. He would have them be Blackfeet, and to be Blackfeet was to be tough. Jesse saw the clouds begin to bill and the plants begin to sway. A great wind began to blow until it became so stiff the trees grew permanently bent. Then the snows came, and the bounty that was no longer. The people had to fight with the other animals, with the other tribes for their very lives, for food. Finally, from the black depths of this winter, from the black depths of his dreams, the sun arose. Jesse stared into the sun. He would not be moved by it, and he continued staring until at once a great strength of will washed over him, and he felt within him a scream emerge that did not leave his lips. He opened his eyes. It was morning, and all around him was ghostly silent, as though a truce had been struck. He turned from the sun and looked out his driver window toward the cow. She did not move, nor did any more vapor emit from her nose. Jesse opened the truck door and staggered over to the cow, feeling slightly hungover. He had the blankets still pulled tight around him. The cow was frozen stiff, icicles hanging from her chin. Well, I'll be damned, Jesse said, and gave her a little kick. Nothing. He staggered back to the truck, and after a few attempts, managed to turn over the sputtering engine. He looked one last time at the cow and considered it solemnly. Then he put the truck in gear, and driving down the hill, he figured he might ask the brothers if he could help process the cow early in exchange for some of the meat. Some of the parts would still be good. After he left, the magpies gathered around. A bald eagle landed, crept forward, and pecked out one of the cow's eyes. 7 months later, Raylan gave birth to their second child.